everybody, it's me, Margaret here, and I hope your holidays are going well. We celebrate Christmas around here, and it has been slam-packed as usual, even though I did cut out a lot of things from my to-do list this year. Over the years, I kind of let things get out of hand, and we just don't need to be doing that. So I even cut back on Christmas cards. I'm not doing Christmas cards this year. Facebook has kind of ruined the excitement of Christmas cards for me because I already know what's going on with everybody. So I sat down here with you, fixed myself some chai spice tea that Crafty Jen had given me, and it's so cold and wet outside. Thank goodness it's wet because we are in a drought around this place. But I thought we needed a change in background to celebrate the holidays here for what we have to talk about. And the first thing I want to talk about is my tiny sweater. Look how little. It's an ornament. I'll put the link in the description box as usual, and I'm also going to put the link in the box for, look at the little hanger. You make it out of a paper clip. Now, it had a, oh, hang on. I just got interrupted because my husband was bringing me some lunch from the Plate Lunch place, but I think I was talking about this. The pattern came with a little a little stuff-like motif that you could embroider on there. And somebody on the Facebook group said, no, you need to put the initials of everybody in your family. For example, make 5 of these and put TMTMT because that just happens to be the initials of everybody in the family. And I thought, that's a super idea. We even have these framed fancy letter TMTMTs that we hang on the wall that I haven't hung yet. And I signed my Christmas cards, TMTMT. Of course, I'm not sending Christmas cards this year, but anyway, Christmas presents and all that we put on the bottom. So I thought that would be so cute. However, my plan to make more of these became thwarted because I am making more of those Snappy Tots Big Kid cocoons. Now, last week I showed you the bear that I made for Maggie. And it was a big hit, so much so that the boys want one. Now, Maggie's boyfriend cracked me up because he said, yeah, make one for the boys and then line them up and put 3 bowls of porridge with varying temperatures in front of them and take a picture. But the boys didn't express any interest in bears or whatever, so I got to looking, and I found these R2-D2 and BB-8 crocheted hats, and I thought, well, what if I just made a plain white giant snuggie thing like this, and then I made the hoods look like R2-D2 and BB-8. Well, that's a good plan, except for the fact that you don't make the hoods like a hat. You make the hoods by doing 15 chains here, and then you half double crochet back and half double crochet like this, and then you just keep going around and around and around, and it folds down on itself to make the hood. So I got to looking, and I came up with something like that, and I really wasn't pleased with that, although I think I could make it work. But just out of curiosity, I tried to make a hat version with the big yarn, and you know, even if you keep increasing so that it's wide enough, it droops. It's not going to look like a hood, and then I'd have to rework the pattern and figure out, oh, I'm showing you the wrong side, and figure out how to, I don't know, I just wasn't feeling good about this. So we'll just reuse this yarn. And what yarn am I using? Charisma again, and this time I'm using Loops and Threads Impeccable in white. And I will tell you, I prefer the Impeccable for a cheap acrylic because I find that it's just softer, at least in my humble opinion it is. And for the blue, I didn't have any bulky blue, and y'all know how I am about having to use what I already have. So what I am doing with this is using regular old Vanna's Choice, which is the number 4 worsted, and a new technique that I learned where you pull a loop like this, see my loop, and then pull this through, and you end up having 3 strands to hold together. And you only do it from 1 skein of yarn. Now I'm going to put a link to the how-to video for this so that you can actually see how to start it and everything, because this was really an ingenious idea. The only problem is that if you don't like what you did and you have to rip it out and save the yarn, it becomes quite a headache to rip back, unless of course you want to use it again as 3 strands, in which case you could just ball it up in this state, which I did when I first learned the technique, tried it out, and then found out that ripping back is a pain in the neck. So, what am I going to put in the description box? I'm going to put a link to this technique for turning worsted into a bulky weight yarn. I'm going to put a link to this tiny pattern and the other link how to make the clothes hanger to hang it on. Although ironically, you know, we really shouldn't hang our sweaters like this because you could end up getting these puckers in your sweaters. So, but that's okay. This is an ornament, and that's why it's done like this. Welcome to my brain. It's a chaotic but happy place. If my brain were feeling a little bit more orderly today, I would have told you that I'm linking a wonderful video on how to make a coat hanger out of a paper clip. Here I am trying it, and my first time was not that great of a success, but it worked on the end. I will tell you, you have to have some good wire cutters. My little Dollar Tree wire cutters didn't cut it, no pun intended. Even with bigger wire cutters, it was pretty hard to cut, but I managed it okay. But then it was a lopsided coat hanger, a lopsided one. Now, how did that happen? On the second try, I grabbed the Dollar Tree cutters at first and then corrected my error. It still came out more lopsided than the real tutorial, but I decided that was something I just wasn't going to be bothered about. And it doesn't seem to show when you hang up the sweater, so everything's great. And oh, by the way, Dina said, wouldn't it be great to have Stuart Little to put it on? And yes, Stuart Little was such a big hit at our house when Thomas was little. I am so off the subject. And then I'll put the link to, oh, Snappy Tots, back to Snappy Tots. I hope that you guys had an opportunity to get the Snappy Tots sale that was going on until, let's see, it ended on the 10th. I posted that everywhere I knew on all my social media, so I'm spreading the word, because Snappy Tots patterns are also the ones that make those cute little elves with the hoods, the hoodie elves that I've made on numerous occasions, and they're called Sweater Friends. It looks like an elf with a turtleneck sweater, and he has a hoodie that comes up over there. It's removable. And then bears and penguins, and all those are hats with the Sweater Friends collection. But she has some real whimsical, fun patterns, and she runs sales occasionally, and this was a great 50% off sale. No, it was a 75% off sale, I think. So I hope everybody saw that was interested in it. I was trying to spread the word. Now, I know I'm all over the place in this video, but that's just where my head is right now. This is for Tyler, the R2D2. I'm going to make a second one for Thomas. I've got to hurry because Christmas is in 2 weeks. So, yeah. But you can see this, I did this entire thing in about 2 days or so. And when I say days, I'm talking about not devoting a whole day to sitting down doing this. It's just my normal sit down in the evening watching TV type things. Then let's say it's probably about 3. So this part goes really quickly because you're using that end hook. So, yeah, but it also uses a lot of yarn. Look what my sister sent. That's a pretty cool upgrade from your regular old styrofoam head, isn't it? Wait, let's make it better. My husband just came in with my lunch, so I'm so excited about that. I have to hurry through my video. Okay, so what do I have in this really cute Christmas bag right here that was made for me by Sharon, who is StellaandFlowsFinest.com. I absolutely love her stuff. Sharon's one of those really talented people. But anyway, I've got new socks, and I'm doing them 2 at a time from the top down. but I'm still experimenting with different methods. You know, I totally forgot to talk about this yarn. I do not understand why the colors are different. I looked and the lot number is the same, and the colorway, of course, is the same, and you can see that that orangey stripe part is at the exact same point, but yet the colors don't match. And I just flat out forgot to talk about that. I'm going to keep going on it just to see, you know, pull out and see all the different colors that come in it, and we can talk about that later. Now, I had said last week that the Kitchener stitch was giving me headaches. And true to form, my wonderful, helpful subscribers had written down in the comments section below a bunch of tips, whether it was blogs or videos or something like that, that helped them get the Kitchener stitch straight in their head and also remember it, because so many of us have to go back and look it up again because it's so tricky. So I found so many helpful ones. I think there was probably about 7 or so of those, and so I took all of them and put them on a blog post so that we could use, you know, I just use that blog for reference posts for the most part, and I put them all on this one blog post, which is another link I'm going to put in the description box below this week. So if you are having trouble with the Kitchener stitch, that's a good reference point. And speaking of smart subscribers, I need to give a shout out to Sherry Carday, or Card, I'm not sure how you pronounce that. I just call her Sherry. But she said she loved Canoe 41's story that I talked about last week, where you turn a negative into a positive. And I forgot that she went through this as well. She said, remember a while back you inspired me to make chemo hats. Mom was going through cancer. Well, I have since donated around 50 hats and scarves and big bags of yarn to the hospital. It really helps me to find something that I could do. And now Mom is on the road to recovery, getting better each day. Feeling so blessed. So that's another example of how doing for others helps boost our negative feelings. So shout out to Sherry for that, and again Canoe 41 for inspiring us, and let's keep going. Also last week I uploaded a tutorial for a dog scarf. My Bentley's got lots of hair and he doesn't need a sweater, but I still want to dress him up. It was really more of a recipe than a tutorial, and I demonstrated it on the Addi Express professional size. But look at this precious scarf that Marcia made. She crocheted it. Marcia is Queensboro Farm on Ravelry. And by the way, be sure to join the Ravelry or Facebook group so you can share pictures of things that you've made with everybody. It's fun. And also, a super comment I got was from Michael, who said, I made my black dog a reflective yarn scarf for when I walk him in the dark. And that is absolutely brilliant. So let's take a moment to look at that yarn. Now, Red Heart makes a reflective yarn, and if you are an Ebates person, if I subscribe to Ebates, it is a wonderful thing. You get cash back on regular purchases. So anything you buy from the Red Heart site, you can activate this and get 2.5% cash back. And I make a lot of money off of Ebates. I'm going to put a link in the description box to my daughter's account. You'll get $10 if you sign up for Ebates. And the reason I'm giving you her account is because she's the one who turned me on to Ebates. Clarification, you only get that $10 if you sign up through the link that I provide below. And I think Angie Wade, who's another YouTuber, uses it as well. But anyhow, I'm going to activate that later because I am not shopping right this minute. But I wanted to look at reflective yarn here. It is a really neat thing. It looks like regular old yarn in regular old light, but when you add lights like headlights or a flash on a camera to it, it gives you a reflective property. So it's great for, you know, when you're outside running or whatever. Or the dog scarf, as Michael said, but it comes in these 10 colors, and it is a bulky yarn. It's only $6.29. However, when I did a search to look at some of the pictures of how it reflects, this is a really good picture right here. So you can see it looks like this in the regular light, and then that's when the light's shining on it. Look at this one. That cracked me up. I ran across another brand, and that's this Night Light. Now, it's acrylic, and the nylon is the reflective thing. but I wanted to learn more about it because I'd never heard anything about it. And it turns out that this person who has this yarn, it's actually expensive for what it is, but they also sell hats and beanies, and they're just beautiful. They're very beautifully made. They're lined as well, so that's super if anybody is in the market for, you know, something that's ready-made. Just absolutely beautiful. And as it turns out, this is the way the mom is making money. She has twin daughters who have some kind of illness that I'm unfamiliar with. Polymicrogyria, I don't know. And anyway, this allows her to stay at home with them, and that's how she's making her money. So I just thought that would be something someone may be interested in. So thanks, Michael, for bringing that up. Now here's an idea I had not considered, but I think Bentley and I will skip this trend. Now I'm going to brave the cold to show you this. I remade a wreath. I found the wreath with the red parts on it, and it was great. I liked it a lot, but I was going for a whimsical wreath. So I got this little guy who is known as a tomte in Scandinavian culture. He's a little elf type, gnome type thing that protects a family that he lives with. And sometimes he does mischievous things like stealing from the neighbors in order to help his family. But anyway, my husband's family is Swedish, so I thought this would be fun. So I put him on here, but I knew that he needed to have some of these other colors pulled into the wreath, and so I wired on the other ones. And my experience I shared with you in a separate video, so I will put a link to that in the description box below. You may remember this precious ornament from last year, and who you may know as Hooking with Hounds on YouTube, sent me this in our gift exchange hosted by Erin, Gimme Yarn 418. Her husband Tariq made this, felting and all. Isn't it adorable? I love this little guy. When my kids were small, it was a tradition in our family to make our tags. You know, the Christmas gift tags that go on the presents. Of course, it started easy when they were little, like handprint reindeer and stuff like that. But then as they grew older, we got a little bit more complicated. When they were in elementary school, I got my first digital camera, which was horrible, by the way, but we thought it was so cool. And we made paper stockings and took their picture on the back of a recliner. They stood in the recliner, and I draped it with something white, and they stood on the back like this, and then it looked as though they were coming out of the stocking. So anyway, we did a whole bunch. Every year we did them. And for some reason, I still make my own tags. But of course, I do that as, you know, an easy way, not a lot of crafting involved. So what I did this year is I fired up my silhouette machine and just cut some out of some paper. I got this paper on sale. It was like 75% off last Christmas. Isn't that cute? It has Christmas words on it like, "'Tis the season," and wrapping presents, cookies and treats for Santa, you know, things like that. But anyway, I cut these out, and I also cut some little rectangles out with the intent, if I wanted to, I could just place it like that on the, you know, right on the front of the tag, but I decided that just wasn't even necessary. I put it on the packages like this, just writing on the back who they're from, who they're going to, and who they're from. Then, not to be undone, I don't like to be wasteful here, so with the little bits of paper that were left over, I made some tiny tags with this paper punch that I had. I've had this for years, but if you watch, you can get punches like this on sale for 50 to 75% off using coupons, sometimes not even using coupons. So just keep your eyes peeled for things like that. But this is almost the same shape as the silhouette tag outline that I used, and I just used the scrap paper for tiny presents. So that was fun. Not elaborate, but fun. And another thing, if you have elementary age kids, I'm going to pass on one of my favorite Christmas activities. I was about to say games. It's not really a game. Do you remember Ding Dong Ditch? Where you would ring a doorbell and then run and somebody would answer the door and nobody would be there and we'd think it was so funny. Ha ha ha! Okay, well here is a Christmas version of that game. We would make little presents for the neighborhood friends. And I'm talking little, like stocking stuffer things. I put them inside of a paper towel roll, and then we'd wrap the paper, not paper towel, toilet paper roll, small, and roll it up with wrapping paper and tie the ends. Kind of like a British Christmas cracker looks, or maybe candy, you know. And you'd have one of those for each child with a note in there from Santa Claus or an elf or something, giving a report on how they were doing. And then we would tiptoe over to the neighbors and we'd place the presents on the mat, ring the doorbell and run. And then we'd hide so that we could hear what was going on when they opened the door and saw the prizes and what was said. And it was always fun. But the underlying precept of this whole activity was to teach giving without receiving. So we would say, don't tell anybody. Like the next day, if they say, we got this present and it was on the... Don't tell that it was you. Just let them be surprised and enjoy the magic of a surprise gift. So that's really fun. Of course, my kids outgrew that. We can't do that anymore, but it's really a cute idea, and I'd like to pass that on to somebody. Way back when I first started my videos, I recommended some Christmas viewing on YouTube. There were some documentaries that were really good, and every year without fail I have somebody send me a message saying, what were the links of those videos? One was a travel special by Rick Steves. He's a you know, one of those guys on PBS that travels all around and shows you different areas. Well, he has a Christmas version of European Christmases and the different traditions that are experienced in different countries in Europe. And I just love that. I watch it every single year, so I'll put that link in the description box as well. And there's a few others that I have stumbled upon that I think are fun watching. So if you're looking for something to do, something different to watch, you know you've got YouTube, you don't need a subscription for a special service or whatever, and there's some interesting things to watch. Actually, I think I put them in a playlist. So I'll link the playlist, and that'll be even better because you could just hit that playlist and it takes you to those people's videos, and then you can just sit there and knit and crochet without having to get up and change and click or do anything like that. So I think that's all I have to talk about. But I'm going to leave my camera up for a little while just in case some reminders pop into my head. I can come insert them real quickly. So, but anyway, until then, talk soon. Bye.